Joe, you're back.
Yes, I am.
I had people asking about you. I just told them you were on the lam, man. Find a place with no extradition treaties.
I finally shook the stadies a little while ago, man. So I'm sitting in a Hojo parking lot with quadruple hop VPN running right now. So if I start moving quickly, you know what's going on. No, I'm just joking, everyone, of course. I had just so much work on our project. I had to just really focus in on that for a bit and just get the clutter out. And it was just refreshing. And I think part of it is that I think, when we're crabbing I don't think we're crabbing today. I looked this morning, but when you're crabbing sideways or plummeting, it's just hard to you just got to really focus on the good stuff. And I think over the last week, I found just so much good stuff out there going on of, user growth, new exciting plays that, I just got re-energized by it.
Nice.
And so, I'm super excited about what's coming forward. I just think my own gut feeling is I just want the rip down. I want the capitulation wick candle.
Nah, this is that grind where everybody stays in because they keep hoping it's going to bounce up and we'll be turning around and they'll all be turning around at 30,000 going, oh man, I should have fucking sold.
Yeah. I think it's going to do like 26. I mean, I don't have any idea why I'm saying this other than that it did 28.5 in June.
Right.
And you look at where all the buys are down there. There's definitely a lot of liquidity sitting there in the 20 to 30 range. So it just depends on, I almost feel like I would recommend everybody just dump now. Force the wick, and then save your money and buy when it hits the bottom. I mean, when it hits the bottom, it's not like it hangs there for a bit. When it hits those trigger points, it just rockets back up and everybody's got fresh powder and, everybody's in the positive side. I mean, I just wish that would happen sooner rather than later because you got to have capitulation. But unfortunately, we're waiting on all the other stuff, the equities, the Fed, the war, all that thing. So, who knows? But I'm re-energized, so I'm positive.
Cool. So in a little bit, we're going to have Atlas joining us from Printer Financial to talk about that project. I talked about it a bit on the show last week, but let's quickly go through a couple of news items. Let me share my screen. Okay. And here we go. Skybridge, the mooch, is going all in on crypto, tripling his investments there. And let's see. So firm has 7.3, well, he manages a $7 million Bitcoin fund, but has 7.3 billion under management. So if he's going all in, if he's taking all that in, that's a nice chunk and, sends a good message too.
Heck yeah.
So glad to see that. Absolutely good to see that. The Super Bowl ads evidently did not drive a ton of new users to the centralized exchanges, which, considering where the market was when this all happened, I'm not surprised. I mean, retail is not diving in when the market's down, although they probably should be. So anyway, we'll see, but spent millions on these ads and a lot of them were pretty cool. I like the Coinbase one. The crypto.com ads are pretty good, but at the end of the day, you have to have people interested in and wanting to come in order for your ad to get their attention and get your app installed. So,
hey, was the Fortune Favors the Bold or whatever, was that crypto.com or FTX?
Crypto.com.
Yeah,
yeah.
Right.
FTX was what's his name? The comedian has his own series on HBO.
Bill Maher?
No. Older guy, grumpy.
Well, I don't know anybody like that.
I can't think of it. No, it's not you, Joe. I didn't mean you.
But I'd love to see what how many people signed up for accounts, let alone funded them just from that. But
so evidently,
Ridley Scott on the left, and I see
Charles Hoskinson.
Right.
So Ridley Scott is going to produce the movie about the Ethereum book, the woman from, oh my God, nothing.
So we talked about that you were talking about,
yeah. So anyway, Evidently,
that one. Yeah.
Evidently, Charles is speculating on who will play him in the movie, and I thought
John Candy's dead, unfortunately. Chris Farley too, man. Chris Farley's dead too. Sorry.
If I were he, I would not be promoting this movie because he is not positively portrayed in the book. Let me just tell you that. He is not a positive character. I would not even be, thinking about it. But Charles is ego. So what are you gonna do? So while you were gone, Joe, we had a $77 million exploit on Beanstalk, whom I've interviewed twice and who I really like the guys. And so they did a fantastic job of crisis management this week. Like the polar opposite of Danielle, of what Danielle did. I mean, just absolutely, these guys dove in, took responsibility, and started working through the problems. And then the first night, they decided to dox themselves, right? So they went from guys who, on my first interview with them, he was holding his nose to disguise his voice because he didn't have a voice synthesizer yet. They decided to dox themselves. And I was speaking to somebody on the team and I was like, oh my God, they really shouldn't do this. That's just so much liability. No, Chuck, it's not Dennis Miller, but it'll come to me like 3/4 of the way through the show. Anyway, no. Don't distract me. I'll forget who I'm talking about now. Yeah. Anyway, they just did a fantastic job handling this. They've done like 10 AMAs since last Sunday, nonstop talking to people, answering every question. And what was really interesting was not the cult-like, stuff that Danielle has. This community, like the first AMA that night, I was watching the AMA and listening, and this community like dove in. People that lost, multiple 7 figures were like, I don't give a shit what it takes. I love this project. I love what you guys are doing. It's solid. It's fantastic. I am so in. We're going to make this work. And they're doing something really unique. They're using the platform to recover. So they're doing essentially a fundraiser. It's a credit-based algorithm. They're doing a fundraiser. They're selling debt to people who will get move up in the line of repayment. The whole system functions that way. You get, 20, 50, 100, 200% on your money, depending on where you are in the chain and when it's needed and what the algorithm needs at the time. And they're going to do a fundraiser. I have a feeling it's going to sell out. I think they'll get all 77 million back. They'll compensate everybody that lost, and they'll be rolling again with the project. I interviewed Ben Weintraub, one of the founders, on Saturday afternoon, his first video interview ever. And it was really great. Like, really went through the whole experience for him. And the really crazy thing is he's Jewish. So on Friday night, they're having dinner with all of his relatives who've been, kind of wondering about this internet money thing he's been doing. And his parents were heavily invested in the protocol, as well as some of his relatives and one uncle. So on previous Friday night, they're all congratulating him. Things are going great. This is fantastic. It's awesome. It's awesome. On Sunday morning, they're wiped out. And they wake up thinking their project is completely dead. Right. So he has to now go tell all those relatives what's going on. Anyway, great story, great interview. I encourage everyone, go to missiondefi.com. It's on the homepage right now.
Are those the guys you played poker with a few weeks ago?
Those are the guys I played poker with. I won about 10 grand, but it was wiped out on Sunday. And now
that's what I was going to ask. Did those pods get wiped out?
Yeah, well, they weren't in the pods are still there, but if they get this money back, I'm back in the game. So, cool. My grandchildren can inherit that or something.
There you go.
So, because I'm way down the pod line. Anyway, great model, great tool, great team. Really, really impressed with how they handled this. And these are young guys, just really blown away with how they handled this crisis. So much better than others do in this space. So
great question. Stuff. You know the thing we're working on?
Is there a ramp to this as well? Sure. Yeah. No, there's totally a use of being in the protocol. Absolutely.
Got it. Cool.
Absolutely.
Thinking of that
Absolutely.
right away.
Also, last week while you were gone, Joe, I went through my favorite tools on Friday. And so on Saturday, I published that list on Twitter, but I want to encourage everyone, go to B05 Crypto on Twitter and please reply to the tweet with your favorite DeFi tools. So I covered Rabby, I covered DeBank, I covered Coindex, I covered Multifarm, I covered Dex Guru, Drops Tab, and Ether Drop Spot. So I would encourage everyone to, go in there, post your favorite tools. I'd love to review them and talk about them on the show. And we're always looking for cool stuff to use. That's all I have, Joe, but we have a guest today.
Oh, so I don't have to talk for a lot. Okay, good. All right, excellent. So I'll be hanging out at the pool listening. Right.
There you go. In the back of the rental car.
Yeah, exactly.
We have with us Atlas from Printer Financial, which I talked about last week as a new bridge in the market. I tested the product out, works beautifully. It's fast, no fees for transfers. It's just a really powerful tool. I've also got some stuff staked on the platform and having fun with that as well. But I want to welcome to the show Atlas, founder of Printer Financial. And Atlas, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Brian. Good to be here. Hello, Joe.
Hey, buddy. Nice to meet you.
How you doing, man? Did you have a good weekend? You've been working all weekend?
Oh yeah, it's days fly by.
Yeah, there really aren't any week. The only way I know it's not a weekend is I don't have to take my kids to school in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, just 6 other places instead, right?
Yeah. So before we dive into the project, tell us about yourself a little bit, if you would, and how you got into this and decided this is something you wanted to take on as a project.
Sure. So I'm a technologist at heart. I've been doing it for decades. I think I started coding somewhere around 12, QBasic, and just moved on from there.
Oh, so you're of my era. You're dating yourself there.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I do remember the 9600 pods. So
nice, very nice. Oh, I was 2400. So
okay, you got me.
Yeah, that's good. So you're a little younger. Good, you have time.
Yeah. So technology always interests me, and I went deep into it. Started out as a code monkey, went into operations, security, started the DevOps phase in enterprise. Did some startups, exited some startups, and turned into kind of like an agile coach. I would say in a past life now. COVID kind of let me free myself from that, and probably the best thing out of that whole episode.
Nice, very nice.
So,
how'd you get into crypto?
Yeah, so my first purchase was BTC at I think it was $65.
Oh wow, nice and early.
Yeah, I don't have that. No, I wish.
You took your 100x at 6,500.
Oh sure, yeah, yeah. I was out originally before then, but I do remember my exposure to that was actually a little bit earlier on the IRC chats.
Okay.
I remember I turned down. Somebody was trying to sell me. I don't even remember the number now. It's something insane. I'm like, $20. I'm not going to give you $20 for this. So you live, you learn.
You do. You absolutely do. And go ahead.
So I've been around crypto for a while. DeFi is semi-recently compared to that. So I did notice that early on, a lot of the DeFi was more of just a gamification type thing, not much utility in there. It didn't really interest me too much. And that's kind of what led me into this project as well, on the utility theme.
That because it was useful, because there was something you could do with it, that's why you were interested in building something like this.
Correct. I mean, I actually love building things that people use. That's kind of something that I enjoy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I get a kick out of watching logs and and saying, oh wow, oh wow, more people. That's kind of a little
That's
boost
nice
for me.
Yeah, of course. Everybody loves that. Knowing that people are actually getting some value and use out of something you built is an amazing thing. Absolutely can understand that after years in the startup world. Um, so you're kind of moving along. You've been this agile coach. COVID kind of takes that out of commission for you. And I'm assuming you kind of start noodling around with Solidity and you start looking at what's possible. Why create a bridge? What kind of made you decide you wanted to create Printer?
Yeah, so I didn't like any of the bridging experiences that were out there. They're either very expensive, slow, or more commonly, they run out of liquidity.
Right.
I can't transfer. I have to figure out what to transfer where and when. And then even then I might get stuck with some tokens on the other side that are completely useless until that liquidity gets backfilled.
Sure.
I noticed this whole tomb fork craze that was very good at creating this initial liquidity.
Right.
But it was dead liquidity. Nothing was happening with it.
Right.
So that's when it kind of clicked in my head. Like I can, there is no such thing as an on-chain liquidity issue, but there is a cross-chain liquidity issue.
Uh-huh.
And that's what kind of spurred me to put that all together. I wrote a white paper, floated it around, and it went from there.
Nice. And did you get investors for the project before you started?
Absolutely not.
Nice.
So there is no VC.
He says with complete conviction.
Yeah. There are no outside hidden hands.
Nice.
into this. There was no pre-sale. There was no airdrops. Everything was actually it was actually a stealth launch with Genesis pools.
Nice.
And the reason that I wanted to do that was we actually have been growing organically. We have just now started to do some promotion as we're on 6 chains already.
Right.
And the reason there, I didn't want to see this project have that hype, moon, and then dump before the vision was actually out there.
Right.
So I took that time to really allow people to utilize the vision and see what it is for themselves. So unlike most projects that start with the hype with utility coming soon, I like to think that we started with the utility and now it's time to hype.
No, love it. Love that. And you've got a pretty decent community building and growing. I've been in your Discord channel, and you've got a team of people who are engaged and involved with the project. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, it's a legit team. We have Pumpkin, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Sure.
She's just a whiz all around. Marketing, communications, team building, organizational things. I mean, I wouldn't know where I should be if it wasn't for her.
Very nice. That's everybody needs somebody like that in their life if they're a creator or a founder. Yeah. That's fantastic.
And then we have Hash, who is from the financial world. He's started companies, sold companies. He's more of the legal financial type mind. He's right now building out our foundation structure. So there's works in there. Part of the protocol is a community owned protocol. So everybody in it, they get to decide where we go. We vote all the time. It isn't, you do what we say type protocol. We really want it to be the people's bridge, the community's bridge. So he's doing a lot of steps with that and with the treasury. And then we have Tigger on the core team, who is a legit scientist. So he's able to work out all these complex formulas, tokenomics, graph this, model that.
Nice.
A lot of that, even coming from a technology background, he can go way over my head.
That's awesome.
So,
that's great.
Yeah.
And then Diza, who's a listener of the show, is who introduced me to you guys. So thank you, Diza, and I know he's helping you out on the team as well.
Yeah, so Diza has been awesome at community outreach, building connections. We're on so many chains at this point. It's kind of impossible for us as a team to really do the outreach that we should, and he's been crucial in helping with that.
Yeah, And I will say, I think that the key to, there's two primary keys to a project's growth. It is community, and then it is business development. It is whatever you want to call it, partnerships, integrations, however you want to phrase it. It is getting the rest of the ecosystem to know you exist by partnering with or working with other platforms and the protocols, the chains themselves. So I think the beauty of it, from my perspective, one of the things I got excited about it is I spent a lot of time connecting people up, but when I saw you were already on 6 chains, I was like, oh my God, the potential for you to outreach to projects in all of those chains is just tremendous. Absolutely tremendous.
Yeah, one of the things I'm especially excited for is going out to these smaller chains where they don't yet have this connectivity into the greater blockchain ecosystem between chains. So I really feel like this project is a way to tear down the walls between chains to really, link up the entire ecosystem. So we pick up people from all of the chains we launch on, and then we're introducing them to new chains when we launch. Nice. And the community gets to vote where we go. So again, that's, awesome. Everything's community decided.
Yeah.
It's owned by the community. And what we get to do is introduce our existing community onto a new chain. So it's really interesting to see the chats as people are discovering these new chains as we launch, because for the majority of them, it's the first time they've ever been there.
That's fantastic.
So it's a really good mixture of, mixing in the communities between different chains, making it basically chain agnostic.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. We'll have to reach out to Simone Joe at Phantom. Yeah. But all of these chains are going to welcome a project like this that's integrating and allowing people to explore and experience it. You're currently on Phantom,
Avalanche,
Binance Chain, Avalanche, Polygon, Harmony. And what else?
Kronos.
That's right.
Yes.
That's great. That's fantastic. And you will launch potentially Ethereum mainnet later, but users won't get the benefit of obviously cheap fees then, because you can't cover that.
Yeah, correct. You will be paying gas both ways.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. Let's get into could you give us an overview of the product, like why it's better than the other alternatives that are out there, and what's the value to the end user in utilizing the printer financial bridge?
Yeah, so I would say the quickest bridge out there and the cheapest. So it's not built for the big guy who doesn't mind paying that 10 USDC base fee trying to transfer. If he's transferring hundreds of thousands, a million, he can eat that. But what if you're a small guy, you got 10, 20 that you want to transfer over? I can't tell you how many small transactions the fees would just eat that up.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, I think this is a very good bridge for people who may not yet be a whale, aspiring whales.
Aspiring whales. I like that. That's your target market. Aspiring whales.
Yeah. So it's really a way for people to also experience a different chain. So we've come across so many people that would, I guess, initially call themselves chain maxis,
right?
Who are now spreading themselves out between all the different chains because we're giving them that cheap portal to get into there. Yeah. So it's really easy to swap between chains. Another good feature of the project is our arbitrage. So paper is effectively pegged to itself across the chains. And that's done by community arbitraging. It's not the protocol earning extra money by automatically arbitraging. We left that up to the community. I'll only write a bot for that if they want me to, and because maybe somebody else is writing a bot to automatically do that, taking it away. So it's not something that we want to do. We want to leave that up to the community. But it also gives a very unique aspect to our token that, especially if we're launching on these smaller chains, one of these smaller chains may 10x, 100x, and our paper token would then, since it's paired with the native token, you would see that increase in that token as well, which then would arbitrage backfill the rest of the network.
Right. So in other words, if paper takes a spike in price on, say, BSC, that gives an opportunity for members of the community to arbitrage into that, buy it on Phantom, buy it on Polygon, sell it on, use the bridge, and then sell it on BSC and make the profit, but then start leveling out the price because you're increasing demand on the other chains.
Absolutely. Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's the core idea there.
Love that.
And then it also gives
cool.
support to the token. So let's say that a chain, I don't know, for whatever reason, somebody exits on a chain and the chain drops 40% in a matter of a couple of days.
Right.
Well, yes, everything paired to that token, let's just call it Phantom, everything paired to FTM would also drop the same amount. But what we actually seen is the paper price stayed relatively the same because the arbitrage then supports that, all of the other chains. So every chain that we launch on adds support to the entire network.
That's fantastic. That's really good. Did you expect that to happen, or has that kind of just happened as you guys grew it out and you saw that it was happening?
Yeah, so I did expect that to happen, but it was something that it was the vision, and when I actually seen it happen, I think I was giggling like a little girl. Like that was awesome to see.
That's great to see it kind of come to fruition. That's awesome to say, okay, I thought this might happen, but now it actually is. That's really cool. That's great. That's great. Bridges lately have been getting kind of a rap about being dangerous, right? Everybody from, I think, Vitalik all the way down have said there are issues, security issues. There was the wormhole hack, the whole bit. I've heard you talking in AMAs and saying that Printer Financial is a safer kind of bridge, and obviously nothing is 100% safe. But why is Printer Financial safer, and why do you think it's superior in terms of helping users protect their funds?
Yeah, so I'm glad you said nothing is 100% safe.
Absolutely.
My friends hate to ask me the question, is this secure? Because I will tell you, nothing is secure.
Well, because you have a security background, right? So that's you're going to be paranoid about everything.
And that's kind of how I looked at it from the ground up. So anytime these hacks happen, I study them myself, and I like to see how they happen before reading the after action report, see if I can figure it out myself.
Nice.
So I spend a lot of time studying what, the issues. So I kind of keep that in mind while I'm developing, but it really comes down to some core things. Limiting the attack vectors. So if for instance, I'm not going to name names, but let's say somebody steals the locked liquidity and wrap tokens. Well, if we don't have any wrapped tokens to steal, then that's not even a factor.
Right. Absolutely.
There was another one where their web server was hacked, not the contracts or the protocols, but the attacker changed all the contract addresses. So you were actually interfacing with the wrong contracts, which would then drain your wallet. Sure. Well, if we don't have a web server, if everything's statically hosted, we don't have to worry about a web server maintaining that security. So it's really about making things as simple as possible and limiting the space that can even potentially cause an issue. Yeah, and that's what I like to think that we did here.
And how does it function differently though, from the perspective of solving those problems? Like, what's the core mechanism that's allowing me to bridge from Phantom to Polygon?
Yeah, so it is a burn mint functionality.
Okay.
So if you bridge from Phantom, you are burning those tokens. You bridge 100 paper from Phantom, you are burning 100 from Phantom, and those are being newly minted on the destination chain. So the supply stays the same across all chains.
Awesome. So the number of tokens available is the same across chain, and you're just burning and minting as people move from one chain to the next.
Correct. Yeah. And we use a validator node in the background.
Okay.
Which at this point we are the only validators as we build this out, but we expect this to be, think of it as a subchain below it, okay, where this will be validated by multiple people. So that's the direction we're trying to take it. But
so your goal is to move it in to have multiple validators doing the validation, so it's not quite so obviously you have a decentralization philosophy, but that actually is a centralized piece, and you'd really like to see multiple people, multiple validators providing that.
Absolutely, the more the better. But at this point, opening it up to, say, just the couple people to be extra, I think that would actually at this point add more risk.
Makes sense because you're just kind of at this beginning stage, and that just gives them power, as opposed to allowing for it to grow some more before you go there.
Yeah, but effectively, I could see this even growing beyond the tokens, because at the end of the day, we're just a metadata bridge. It's just tokens are one thing that we can facilitate transfers of. We can facilitate transfers of any sort of data between chains.
Nice. And I did hear on one of the AMAs that your goal is to move into cross-chain swaps, right? So I could start with paper on Phantom and end up with USDC on the other chain. Is that part of the plan?
Correct. That is the next level that we're actually trying to focus on right now.
Okay.
Via either partnerships or developing things ourselves. Like ideally, we would like partnerships so that we don't have to reinvent wheel, integrate tighter with other ecosystems. So that's something that is our current focus right now. One of our top focuses, and it's even more than that. You can go from say Tomb on Phantom to Shiba on BSC with one click. So
nice.
Like true cross-chain
that's awesome.
type functionality.
Now, when you say partners for integration of that or building that, would that be other DEXs on other chains? So they would provide kind of the swap functionality, and you would provide the bridge functionality?
Ideally,
okay.
And maybe we need to do some work, or they would want to do some work, or we take it in house. So how that's going to play out, worst case scenario is we build it out, which we can.
Sure. No, that makes total sense. That's very cool. Another thing that you guys have talked about quite a bit in the AMAs I've listened to is the kind of the tokenomics of the project. Can you speak to that a little bit and kind of walk through paper and ink and how that works and how users can profit and benefit from it?
Yeah, so Ink is our governance token. Like I said, we love to vote. It's a community-owned project, and Ink is what gives you that voice. So if there's something on an individual chain that only affects the individual chain, that would be up to vote between all Ink holders, one Ink, one vote on that chain. If it's something that's protocol-wide, we then aggregate all of the votes between all of the chains. Now, Ink is not transferable between chain. It's 100,000 max, and it's locked to the chain it was farmed on.
Okay.
But that is our governance token. And part of that is distributions of paper for being part of the owners of the protocol.
Got it. So Ink is the voting token. Paper is obviously currently the bridging token. That's the token that gets bridged across, right? Right now, if you want to bridge using Printer Financial, you swap whatever you have into paper, and then you use the bridge and swap it from paper on Polygon to paper on Phantom. And then on the other side, you could then convert your paper into the token you wanted on the other end.
Exactly.
Okay. That's cool.
I saw you hit that screen with those APRs, Brad. I've been looking at that for the last 10 minutes.
Nah, they're nice. I'm in there. I've got a little bit of money in on Phantom and on Polygon over there. And it's nice. And one of the things I've heard you talk about is you guys are doing a revamped UI, correct?
Correct. That's going to be ready in weeks. So the functionality is already done. We're just cleaning up some of the framework so that it is easily extendable. I'm kind of a code perfectionist. A little bit, but and also front end is something that I can pretty much do everything, but front end is where I takes me way too long to function. I live in like Bash, Screen, Vim. That's where I feel comfortable.
Sure.
So yeah, we are launching that new UI, and actually to relate that to the APRs right now, I believe those APRs are way too high, and I think that's because a lot of the market still sees us as a Tomb fork because of the UI. Now, we did use the Tomb front end to get going because it was just easier for me starting out.
Sure.
And we did use the liquidity pool reward system from that code.
Okay.
It's actually stripped down quite a bit. So we're only using a fraction of that code from the Tomb project. Everything else is 100% custom, but I think a lot of people still, they click onto the site and immediately they know what we are.
Right.
When they don't. So
yeah, absolutely.
So
Go
I
ahead.
think those rates are incredibly too high at this point, and as more people get into the protocol, those rates should significantly go down.
Yeah. That's kind of the standard behavior. At the beginning, it's high, and then as more people come in, it just dilutes down the APRs or APYs. So, but that's to the listeners, that's what makes it attractive right now. That you can go in and capture and build up a bag of ink. Like I looked at, there was a single staking pool of paper, I think doing almost 400%, and the reward was in ink. So is that the one you're in, Brad?
I am. I'm in a paper and an ink pool. So, and so people know there is a tax on ink, right? On swaps. Is that correct? It's like
yes,
5%?
Correct.
Okay.
There's a 5% transfer tax on ink because ink is not something that we really want to be, freely traded around. That's really the you want to be part of the protocol. You want to own part of what we do. That's what the ink is for you then. But that also goes to then incentivize in the future. So the treasury's collecting all that. None of that goes to the team or anything like that. That all stays inside the protocol for future distributions.
Got it. And is it your vision that, one of the things we talk about a lot lately is more and more protocols are tying revenue or essentially tying the value of the token that users are holding to the functions of the site, so that there is actually, when the project is successful, there's an actual, correlation between the value of the token. Is that part of kind of, paper is functional as part of the bridge and ink is part of the governance token? Is that why you engineered it the way you did, was so that it would have kind of that tie into the value of the project overall?
Absolutely. So the tokenomics on paper are being reworked, and Tigger, the data science, has been modeling those scenarios out where we presented some of that to the community. Was it yesterday or the day before? Days kind of run together. And that's actually going to set a max supply of paper across the network.
Oh,
multiplied by the number of chains that are launched. So when a new chain comes on, there will be an increase in supply, but we'll also need that increase in supply for the new chain as well.
Sure, makes sense.
And that's going to give us quite a large runway. I believe it's modeled out to 3 years, and all this can change. So this is still, the community still has to actually vote on this as well.
Right.
I'm just speaking about the general idea of where we're trying to go. But that'll give us time to, as we add in like the swap functionality. So you swap from any to any, we are going to take fees off of that, but it's going to be cheaper than if you're just swapping, bridging, and then swapping again.
Right.
But there are fees to be made there. So the bridge is really our foundation, which we can build utility on top of, which is why we want to keep it, fast and cheap. It's cheap as possible. It's cheap as gas. And those fees then will be going to either be directly injected into ink holders, or they will be going to buy paper off of the market to then still distribute in the same manner.
Nice. Okay.
So buybacks.
Yeah.
That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's
with
great.
the tax, Atlas, is that sort of on the sell where you just set the slippage high to cover the 5%, or how is that treated?
Correct. Yeah, you have to set the slippage to like 5.1.
Got it. Okay.
So you kind of have a vision of building on top of the protocol other functionality. We've talked about the UI, we've talked about cross-chain swap. Are you saying that you're also like thinking about other kinds of things you could build on top of this, maybe cross lending, NFT transfers, that kind of thing? Are those the kinds of things you're thinking about? Not asking you to confirm things that aren't definitive yet.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say yes or no on the NFTs, but I'll just say yes. That's something that we're actually working on now. Kind of like an in-house NFT project that we can again show that we can do this functionality, and also the NFT is actually also going to be help bring earning protocol owned liquidity. So again, it's not for the team to make money off of that; goes right to the protocol. So kind of doing dual purpose there, but. Yeah, so like I said, we could also do any sort of messaging. So if you want to build on top of us to send any sort of signalings cross-chain, you can.
Right.
But I think a really cool thing is I built this as a service, like any good enterprise engineer would do.
Right.
So this is white labelable to any project. If you're a project and you want to go cross-chain with your project, with your native token, you don't have to bridge it through paper. We can spin you up your own token bridge.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
You can natively bridge your token. But of course, we will be taking a transaction, a bridge fee off of that.
Sure.
Your token won't be free, but it'll still be cheap.
Yeah, no, but that makes complete sense, because one of the things I was talking to Diza about was that I truly think that the potential for this, because of the speed and how inexpensive it is to have direct integrations. And I frankly think that, yeah, there will be some that say, hey, I want to use our token, but there'll be others that just say, well, let's just, if it's happening behind the scenes and we can facilitate the swap mechanism on either end, I don't care if it's paper, right? So, I mean, I think there's any number of paths this could go down, but I see a potential for growth for you guys from like getting as many people using the protocol into their interfaces as possible.
Yeah. So we do want to be basically the highway that DeFi can run off of. That's really the way that I'm looking at it. So the bridge isn't, bridge is open, project's done. Well, no, bridge is open. Now we can do the fun stuff.
Now you actually do the building on top of that. That's great. That's fantastic. So Joe, do you have anything else specifically about the project? Because I have one last question.
Well, I just say congratulations. This is something that we see everybody talking about. I mean, we're all following Define and Router protocol, and Router was talking about cross-chain stuff I think they eventually got there, but I had sold before that. But a lot of others, just because I was up 6x, and I'm kind of like not trusting it at that point. But everybody talks this game, and it's good to see someone who's actually seems to have figured it out. Particularly the cross-chain swaps through the bridge. I think that is super cool.
Yeah, that's going to be powerful.
Like when we look at Cosmos and the layer 0 type things, as we call them, sort of the ones that are kind of nodes in between all the other chains, or like a layer below and the chains are later stacked on top, let's say, that's seamless infrastructure. Like you said, behind the scenes, like when you talked about how people can white label it and nobody really sees that paper's being used. It's still their tokens, but it's infrastructure then. So this is the kind of stuff that we really like a lot. At least I do. I know Brad does, but I'm just kind of generalizing the whole community. People who can pull this off, then it makes, whether you're on Phantom or Avalanche or Arbitrum or Polygon or wherever, it doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah, this is one of my thesis plays, Joe. I mean, it fits in perfectly with the things I think are important. So.
Absolutely. So congratulations so far, Atlas.
Yeah, thank you. Still got a long way to go.
Of course.
That NFT stuff sounds really exciting too. I was just, as you were talking, sorry, Brad, didn't mean to jump.
That's okay. Go ahead, buddy.
But the other thing with NFTs that we've been tracking on the last year is, everybody has little bits of this, but when you can actually really have real values on the NFTs that then can be parked and yield farmed and staked and doing all these types of things and cross-chain, I'm not saying that's what you're talking about doing, but I'm saying that kind of application to me is the same as what I was saying before, that you have that in infrastructure. Because if you just look at OpenSea right now, just to take the obvious one, and you look at like their Polygon section versus their ETH section, it's just not, it's not where it needs to be. Let's put it that way.
Right.
So I see tremendous potential in this, and it's exciting. I look forward to following you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
So Atlas, you kind of dove into this thing. You found something you thought was important to build. You wanted it to be decentralized. You didn't want any investors at the beginning. What has that experience? What has this experience been like? Like, when did you launch it?
Oh man, I think we went live with Phantom beginning. Yeah, it was February 2nd. So
Okay.
it was 0202 2022.
Nice. And then how long ago did you start actually saying, okay, I'm going to build this?
I think I did maybe a solid, I would say 2 months just on the white paper.
Wow.
And then maybe a good 2 months developing before I even launched. So one of the things that I wanted to make sure of was, again, we're not launching with hype, but we're launching with something people can actually benefit from. So I wrote all the automations and everything to allow us to be doing what we're doing now. All of this happened, behind the scenes before we launched.
Right. What has the experience of this whole thing been like for you? Right. Like, I'm always curious what founders kind of expected, and then what the end experience ended up being like as you went out, as community started coming around, as you were trying to get people to pay attention to it. What's that been like?
Yeah, it's been not what I would have expected, actually. It's been I've had a lot less sleep, a lot more hassle, dealing with just a lot more of everything.
Yeah. No, I understand. Well, I mean, the good news is you're now building a team, and people are coming on board that will be able to alleviate some of that stuff for you, so you can focus on the part that you love about this, right? So
Absolutely.
That's
And there's a lot of
important thing.
There's a lot of core things behind the scenes, structure, organization, setting up foundations, and that's things that, I can't really even wrap my head around. And I'm glad I have people on the team
that's awesome,
that can get that ball going.
How, as you build out a foundation for this and you have team members, what will be the primary revenue streams for the project that can allow it to pay people or pay for services or whatever you have to do? Is that from the tax that's coming in? Is that from partnerships where they're paying a fee to the project? How do you guys envision that working?
Yeah, I would say that is then the responsibility of the Treasury to manage how, these funds coming in are allocated, mixed with rewards within the system, or and that's the first piece that's being put together. So cool. The Treasury, we just received our round of applications from the community, and they're going to be doing AMAs with the community to pitch themselves.
Nice.
These advisors are then going to be voted onto the council, who are then going to draw up plans for how that Treasury and organization functions, which are then, those plans are ultimately then voted by the entire community. So that's how it's structured. So how are they going to get paid? Well, they need to pitch the idea, and it needs to be voted on for the actual specifics.
That's awesome. You are totally going with the radical decentralization. I love it.
Yeah.
The future is decentralized.
Absolutely. The revolution will not be centralized. That's awesome. Is there anything else we should know about what's coming? And then also, tell people how to join in, take part, and become a part of the community if they're interested.
Yeah, so I think we touched on most of the major features. If you want to join the community, check out our webpage, printer.financial. You can get a link to our Discord. That's where the vast majority of the community interaction happens. If you have any ideas on things that you see us being beneficial in moving in, that's the place that we basically talk about where the protocol is going. You could keep up to date with things that we're working on. And one thing that I think I missed completely, Pumpkin would yell at me if I didn't mention this. We have this feature called the gas station. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I have. And she talked about that on an AMA the other day, or made you talk about it. So tell us about it.
Yeah, so the gas station was kind of a feature that came out of this project that wasn't even in the original plans. It allows you to burn a little bit of paper on any of the chains that we're launched on to get gas on any of the chains we are launched on and some chains that we're not even launched on.
Wow.
So if you have funds on any chain, you run out on one chain, you can get gas through us in a pinch.
So you can pick up BNB or FTM or AVAX so that you can pay fees on that chain. And this is an easy way to kind of get people to be able to do it and then explore and find out about Printer.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. It kind of works as a nice billboard.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd
be a really cool tool as a widget that people could put into their websites.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, how many times have you heard people talking about this? I mean, it's happened to me 6 times, probably at least, where you're like, "Oh, I've got nothing on Arbitrage."
Yeah.
And then how do I get it there?
Exactly.
But they all have something that's hard to find. It's got like a little thing like this. But if you embedded this in everybody's like web pages, like you said, Brad, then everybody has it automatically. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is kind of the one of the features of that is that advertisement. So it's kind of like a nice billboard, but it came out of being able to test the bridge functionality before launching the bridge.
Aha.
And it also lets us test new chains to figure out any quirks or things before we fully launch a bridge on it. So it serves a dual purpose.
Nice. Well, and essentially this is a cross-chain swap, right?
Exactly. It uses the same mechanism. It's just the tokens that are different.
Now you are getting only 70% of the paper value that you put in. So it's not a pure one-to-one, but it still proves that you can already do that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, correct. It's a convenience thing. It's not meant to really be one-to-one. That's the bridge.
Yeah. Of course. No, that's fantastic. That's really cool. And I think that's a useful product that'll get people's attention.
Yeah, we're also burning that paper used in the gas station. So you could actually think of it as a deflationary method.
Oh, I love that too. That's awesome. That's very cool. So, Joe, did you have any other questions?
No, I just was going to ask a quick question on what's the circulating supply right now, Atlas?
I think it's roughly, like maybe 800,000.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's just because
across the 6 chains.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. So look, you got a price of, let's see, the price is going up since we've been talking. I see the TVL's going up since we've been talking.
Well, we have that effect, Joe.
Yeah, but no, I think, well, we haven't pushed it up a couple million or anything. No, I mean, unfortunately, we're not quite there yet. So sorry on that.
Wait till I can get some more, please.
Yeah, but still, look, so 15 cents a token, 800,000 out there. I mean, this is a great, early stage project. I mean, not the technology is not early stage, but in this market right now, if you're looking for something to look at, this is one to look at right here. Yeah. To the listeners. So, small circulating supply. I don't know what the total supply is. It capped at 800, Atlas, or does it go up from there? I mean, what is the total?
Yeah, no. So at this point, it's not capped. But the new tokenomics coming out is there to add a cap. So in the plans, we were going to be burning paper faster than it inflates, but people looking from the outside don't really wrap their heads around that, and it's hard to model. So we are putting a hard cap, which we are trying to then never reach.
Right. Yeah. That's good. And then look, I mean, I think the whole model of burning more than you create is something people are becoming more accustomed to because of Ethereum. So I think I think that'll help people understand it, but also feel better that there is a cap.
Yeah. Then you can model it. Then you can actually do math and figure out, worst case, best case, instead of having too many unknowns.
Makes sense. Makes total sense. Well, that's all the questions I have, Joe.
Yeah, no, this is impressive.
Atlas, thank you for your time, man. Really appreciate it, and excited about what you're doing. And I'm going to stay engaged with you guys on Discord and in the community, and see what I can do to help out later on.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on and taking a look at the project. And absolutely love to have you in the community.
Great. And we'll have you back on after a while to see how things are going, how the expectations are coming out. Everybody go check out printer.financial. Atlas, thank you so much and good luck to you. And we'll see how things are going.
Great. Thank you.
Take care.
Talk to you soon, Atlas. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Smart.
Got some good credibility, some good credentials and background. That was one of the things that really kind of got me excited and decided to ask him to come on the show. Was I was so impressed with his skill set and history and kind of the approach. I'm a sucker for projects that are really trying to be as decentralized as possible.
Yeah.
And that's obviously his philosophy. It's why, it's why I like the Beanstalk guys. Their launch was a completely fair launch. There were no investors. There's nobody involved. They didn't get any tokens. They didn't get any money for a token sale. It was just, here's the protocol, use it, and that's the approach here as well. So really love that. I love that he has that security background. I think that's critical to build credibility.
Can you share any of that without doxing him by accident?
No, I mean, he just talked to, I heard him on another show, and then he talked a little bit about here. He was just heavily involved, I think, in enterprise level security audits and security solutions in the software world, not here in Solidity or smart contract world, but he's got that mindset, right? That always looking for the hole, always looking for the weakness. And I love somebody that's got life skills and experience looking for problems, right? Because that to me makes it feel even better. So, look, and he's obviously a capable quality developer. He's built something that seems to be working really well. And the community is gathering around it pretty rapidly. It feels to me, again, I don't know if it'll end up like that, but it feels to me like early days at Ohm and early days at Beanstalk and early days at a lot of projects, and they're not going to all pan out. But like you were talking about, I love taking a look at these new projects, these micro cap projects that have like strong potential. And if you spread your money out amongst those that have good infrastructure plays, solid teams, community growing, some of these are going to do really well. And this is one I think has a ton of potential to do that.
Well, look, his team is the right team. It's the PR person. Then there's like the legal financial person. And then there was a fourth person, I think might have been a developer or community person.
Data, financial stuff.
Data scientist.
Yeah,
that's
tokenomics,
right,
et cetera. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you want. Unfortunately, a lot of these early stage ones, it's one person. And, they don't have a team looking for all those issues, like you said, like a security professional does. They're always probing for weaknesses in their own deployments.
Yep.
So now he's got a good mix. So I look at this as one that, you're spreading money around. This one looks like, it's more likely than not to do well in my mind.
I've got a little bit in there now, but after talking to him, I'm personally I'm probably going to do a bit more. And, just not financial advice. Do your own research. There's always risk, even as he said. So nothing is a sure thing, and nothing is completely safe. It's impossible. So,
but pull up that staking page again, real quick. Just
sure.
There's a single token staking pool, the paper one right there.
Yeah, 384. I'm in that one. I haven't done any of these pools yet, because one of the things I said to the group in the Discord is I said, you've got these high APRs on single-sided staking. People are going to be like, well, maybe I'll just stay in that, and I don't have to worry about, impermanent loss.
Yeah.
But I think they know that will diminish over time as people go, oh, single-sided. And then those that are LP offerings will be higher. So, but yeah, on Polygon, they were higher yesterday. Let me see if they're still that way today. Yeah. Look at Polygon, 561 for just paper, 758 on the liquidity pools, 1,248 on Inkmatic. So, really, I'm impressed. I like the platform. Hopefully we can partner with them for the thing we're working on.
Yeah.
Because it's perfect when they have cross-chain swaps for what we're doing. And, I think I can reach out and introduce him to some of the other protocols that we've made relationships with over the last, couple of years. So
are they hosting these liquidity pools, or are these on other platforms?
These are on other platforms. Okay. I think QuickSwap and I don't know, Phantom.
Is either Spirit or Spooky, probably.
Let's see if it says Spirit.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Good stuff, man.
Cool.
Good stuff. Well, that's all I've got for today, Joe.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
hitting
I
up
mean,
right at 1 o'clock.
yeah, it's perfect. The only other thing I was going to say that we talked a lot about 2 weeks ago was Musk and Twitter. And he's got the financing.
Shit. Looks like that deal's going to happen.
Yeah, Twitter board's seriously entertaining it.
Yeah, they're
Price
negotiating today.
48, 49 right now. After both Musk and Dorsey pounded the Twitter board last week, I was like, he just called it a piece of shit, basically.
Fuck this shit. Yeah.
And so now the board's like, all right, we better step up and take this price. So it looks like,
I don't think Musk knows what he's gotten himself into. I mean, look, the man is capable of lots of amazing shit. And, I'm impressed by everything he's done. But this one's a lot more difficult. I also think he may see attrition in experienced staff. First of all, they're going to be able to cash out, right? And all those juicy options that they've been sitting on worth millions of dollars are going to be suddenly cash in their pocket. And there's going to be a number of folks on the further left side of the political spectrum that are not going to want to work for Elon Musk. So I think he may, look, I want him to succeed. I love the platform and I hope it goes well. But I think he's biting off a little more than he can chew, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, he's a fan of the platform too. So he's an aficionado of it. So he's very, obviously, 90 million followers or something. So
yeah, absolutely.
But I was surprised. I didn't think he'd be able to pull the financing together for it. So
no, it's crazy. It's crazy.
$53 billion just pulled together like that. So
it's amazing.
But anyhow, we could talk about that for a whole show. So I'll drop that now. And,
thanks everybody for listening. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll got more good stuff coming tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have a guest that's got a really cool new strategy that I found on Twitter this weekend, and I think it's a good model for the other thing we're working on, by the way, Joe. Okay. But I think it'll be fascinating to kind of hear how he modeled it, why he modeled it, and how it could work for you. So tune in tomorrow when we're going to talk through a really cool strategy. And Joe, I appreciate you being back. And thanks to everybody watching. Please rate, review us on Apple Podcast and on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button and the little bell so you get notified when we put out new stuff. That's it, Joe.
Perfect.
Have a great Monday, everybody. And